Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's going on, Fantasy Champs? Welcome to episode 2 of the week. Week 2 is upon us.
Dude, we're already looking. No, isn't this crazy? Like, we're already
Season
talking
flies.
about week 2. Like, we're just right into it.
I'm like, what
you go from 0 to 100
Oh my god, I know. And then
so quickly.
Yeah, it's gonna get interesting.
It is.
I want football. Like, I just like you. It's like by the time I hit week 3, then we're into it, and I'm like, okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, take a day off, analyze what's going on. Thursday, watch football. Usually go to a high school football game on Friday night. Saturday, you got college football if that's what you're into. And then Sunday, you got the NFL.
Right now, it's just like, I'm just not used to it.
I know, and I just want to watch football. Like, I watched yesterday, and I'm like, all right, that freaking sucked. I would like to win my fantasy matchups. But anyway.
That's why week 2, bro, you going undefeated, man. Trust.
Hey. Yeah, I hope so. It's so funny how things just went completely sideways in that, what is it, our 10-man bands league?
Oh, I didn't even see what happened. Did you struggle in that league?
Won the championship, and I'm winning right now, 150 to 120.
Yeah, this show is pre-recorded, so.
Well, I won already. This is pretty because all his players have played. He has Javonte, and I got Rashad Penny. So, battle of the running back.
You won though. You're up by 40 points.
So anyway, that's why I said I won 2 leagues, bro.
Okay.
But anyway, we got this Thursday night preview matchup. I am loving these early season Thursday night games because they look freaking delicious for fantasy football and for entertainment. So we're going to talk about this game in particular on this show, and then on Thursday's show, we're going to do starts and sits. Friday's show, we should have our buys and sells of the week. So we're going to talk about guys that you should trade for and guys that you should trade away from your team. And we'll do that on Friday. But anyway, before we jump into the Thursday night preview show, check our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you're watching on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platforms, I meant listening, not watching. Please leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like and comment down below any questions you have for us. Are you ready to jump into the Thursday night preview, my guy?
Let's do it, bro.
So last week, as we said, we went team by team and just discussed some of the different variables. This particular matchup, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Rams. This
bro, you messed that up so bad. It's Chargers at Kansas City. Did you think it was Rams Chiefs this week?
I said Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Rams.
It's Chargers at Kansas City.
Chargers at Kansas City. I asked you before the show
LA Chargers,
if it was Chiefs
not Rams.
at Kansas City.
And I said it was in Kansas City. And you said the Rams. You didn't even say the right team. So you got the team and the location wrong.
I literally read Chargers off the screen.
And you said Rams.
When I edit
Chargers and said Rams.
When I edit this, I'm going to go back to see if I actually said. I probably said the at wrong, but I guarantee you I didn't say the Rams. There's no way.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I read Chargers. Like I was reading it off the screen. All right. Anyway.
I must have heard wrong then.
We have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Chargers. Chargers are on the road. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Chiefs-Chargers. Really good game. This AFC West is going to be ridiculous because you have the Chiefs, Chargers, Denver Broncos, and the Oakland. See, you screwed me up. You got me. The Las Vegas Raiders. So this is actually going to have huge implications on because I actually think that the Chargers should be the second best team in this division.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you like would you take the Chargers?
I mean, talent-wise, probably.
Yeah. So I would say the Chargers probably are the second best team in this division, and games against the Chiefs are huge because this could mean playoff seeding and, whether the Chargers can actually win the division. So as important as a week 2 game can get, this one's important for the Chargers to win and the Chiefs. But for fantasy, so it's entertaining from that perspective, but for fantasy, this is going to be one heck of a game.
It is.
Great matchup. The over-under for the game is 54 points, so there should be a lot of scoring on both sides. Kansas City's defense against Arizona looked pretty good last week, but I don't know if that's because of Kansas City or because Arizona is just trash. And honestly, Kyler Murray looks fat and unprepared.
Yeah, I've had this developing take with Kyler starting last year that I don't think he's a great NFL quarterback, or I think he's good, but he's overrated. I will say, people put him in that top tier category, and I just don't think he's there.
Okay,
that's just a developing personal take, but
interesting. Fantasy football, he kind of
fantasy football wise, he's great. I'm just talking about NFL wise.
Yeah, But anyway, so we're going to break down the Thursday night preview. We'll talk about the Chargers first, and then we'll talk about the Chiefs. I'm really, in my mind, I'm stuck on what Rick said. There's no way I said the Rams. Now, to be fair, it's not like it's completely different. Like, if I did say the Rams...
They play in the same stadium.
They play in the same stadium, in the same city, and I said Los Angeles. So if I said Rams, it was probably just me Freudian slipping that I watched the Rams last Thursday night.
Probably. I mean, Rams-Chiefs would have been a good game, too.
But you did tell me that the Chiefs were on the road, so...
I think I did, and then I corrected myself, and I don't think you heard me correct myself.
Yeah, well, whatever, bro. But
either way.
Let's talk about the Chargers first. Starting with the quarterback position, Justin Herbert obviously is the quarterback, should be in your starting lineups. What is your expectation for Justin Herbert heading into week 2 against the Chiefs?
I think the Chiefs, I don't know if it's because the Cardinals sucked and Kyler sucked, or the Chiefs actually have an improved defense, but the defense actually played decent against the Cardinals, which was interesting to me. And I know they've drafted pretty well at that position, or the defensive side of the football, at least the last 2 seasons. So I don't know if, again, we're gonna find out this week. But you're starting Justin Herbert. He's your guy.
I mean, Murray you're expecting had 19 points, so that's not bad. And if Herbert
for real football though, it was like dump offs Yeah, he had 19 points, but rushing too. He had 30 rushing yards and trash time touchdown. So I think Herbert will do very good in this game. I expect this to be a shootout. I did say that last week with Rams Bills, and that did not happen. So I'm a little scared about that Thursday night shootout and how realistic this is. But it's Chiefs and Chargers. It's 2 elite offenses. I expect it to be a shootout. Although the Chargers only had 24 points this week, so maybe it is a little scaled back. But I do think Herbert. He's Justin Herbert. He's a top 5 quarterback. You're starting him every single week, and it shouldn't be a bad matchup. I know I just said Kansas City's defense might be improved, but it's too early to really tell how good the Chiefs' defense is, and I don't think it's great. So I would expect Herbert to have a good week, and you're starting him. You're expecting 20 to 25 points. He's your guy.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I think if Kyler Murray can score 19 points, Justin Herbert can definitely score 25.
Yeah,
yeah, I would expect a good matchup this week. Let's move to the running back position. Interesting week. I don't think there's anybody outside of Austin Eckler that I would play. Sony Michel did get an interesting run in week 1.
7 carries, 12 yards.
He had 7 carries for 12 yards. Freaking awful, terrible production. So, it's something to factor into Austin Eckler's production. And he also did not have a great week in week 1. 14 carries, 36 yards, 4 receptions, 36 yards for Austin Eckler. No touchdowns, 11 points. The early part of the schedule is tough, and his hardest game was against. The early part of the schedule is easy. The toughest game he has is against the Raiders in Week 1. So I would expect against Kansas City, this should be a good game for Austin Eckler. But like Rick has said, this is on Thursday night. This is the first short week of the season, so anything can happen. But you got to roll Austin Eckler out. He was a top 3 pick, top 4 pick, top 5 pick in fantasy draft. So he's a start this week.
I also will say I'm pretty sure Eckler last year in primetime games went off every primetime game.
Oh, good.
So
this is good.
There's a primetime factor with Austin Eckler. So
dude,
he expect to bounce back.
I'm playing a guy in a freaking. But you know what? I hope he doesn't bounce back. I mean, he will, but.
You playing against him?
Yeah, next week. What the hell?
Of course.
Yeah, I'm about to get freaking torched. But
the first two guys are pretty easy though. Eckler,
honestly,
Herbert, you got to start.
I'd rather have guys play on Thursday night, right, than Monday. Would you disagree with that?
Fair enough. Because no, I don't disagree with that.
I feel like if I don't have guys and I'm up by like 40, 50 points in a game, and the other team has 4 Monday night games, I'm 1,000% going to lose.
It always feels that way.
It feels like that. But anyway, let's move to the wide receiver position. This was actually this past week. We had this rando wide receiver, DeAndre Carter, who happens to be, I think, 30 years old. Hold on, he is 29 years old.
So gross.
Yeah, I don't. He had an interesting week. Actually performed relatively well. I would say if you're like trying to, you feel good and you're like, I got this guy off the waiver wire. 3 catches, 4 targets, 1 touchdown, 64 yards. No, don't pick him up and start him. Don't pick him up. I wasn't on our waiver show. Don't pick him up. But there are two main wide receivers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. Both, I would say, hold on, I just want to confirm this, didn't have a great week. Did Mike Williams finally figure it out?
No, because we knew this with Mike Williams.
Yep.
He's gonna get 5 points, he's gonna get 4 points, and then he's gonna get you 30. Like, this is just who he's been the last 2 seasons. It's what we expect. Keenan Allen was actually having a great game. He left the game in, I think, the first quarter or the beginning of the second quarter.
Hamstring injury, so he might not play.
Yeah, he had 10 fantasy points in the first quarter, and I was like, oh.
Why Josh Palmer?
No.
Was
honestly, I don't feel confident starting any Charger outside of. I think, and I said this last week. So it's like throwing a bunch of crap at the wall. Eventually, it sticks. Yeah. But I'm gonna say Mike Williams has a big week this week because he had 3 this past week. They're gonna try to get him the ball, and Keenan Allen is most likely going to miss this week. So I would like to think that this is a week where Mike Williams goes off against the Chiefs too.
I totally forgot the hamstring thing.
Yeah, against the Chiefs, where I think in the past he's had pretty good weeks. Yeah, last year versus the Chiefs, he had one game where he had 7 points, 9 targets, so not good. But he had another game where he had 33 fantasy points.
Holy crap!
33 fantasy points. So I think he could have one of his big weeks this week. And Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter, like all these guys, Herbert's gonna. And I've said this, I think, on the last show. Herbert's gonna spread the ball out to those other guys. So one of them might end up having a good week, but I'm not trying to bet on who it's going to be.
Yeah. It's not worth it.
Gerald Everett might be a decent play when we get to him, but I think Mike Williams. I would start Mike Williams. I know he had a bad week, probably hurt your soul. You don't want to play him. Suck it up and start him.
Yeah, I would start Mike Williams. It's not only just it's a good matchup, but I think that's definitely poised for a week where he can explode, like Rick said. Especially if Keenan Allen's out. I think even if Keenan's in, Mike Williams is a good play. I think you still got to roll with both the guys just for another week. And if things continue to look not great for Mike Williams,
if Mike Williams sucks 2 weeks in a row, I will be a little concerned. I'm not gonna lie.
But that's, like I said, this is we've talked about it all offseason. Like, Mike Williams is this guy where he just craps himself and doesn't do well, and then all of a sudden explodes onto the scene. and everyone's picking him up off the waiver wire. That's just the type of player he's going to be for you. So hopefully this week is a a breakout week.
But we're both on the Mike Williams train.
Yes, yeah, I like him for this week. I don't like anyone else.
No, I don't.
And then for tight ends, you have Gerald Everett, who was a good pickup this week on the waivers. Definitely, I would foresee a increase in target share without my Keenan Allen on the field. So I would pick up Gerald Everett, and I would even play him this week against KC.
Yeah, he's a deep play. Like, I'm not confident in Gerald Everett. If you have a good tight end, play him. But if you're one of the teams that has like nothing at tight end, he's not a bad play. Not bad at all.
If you're still streaming tight ends, Everett's not a bad play.
Right.
All right. Anything else on the Chargers that you feel like you need to get to?
No, I think that's everybody.
Okay. Let's move to the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, starting off with quarterback Patrick Mahomes, who threw 5 freaking passing touchdowns, maybe more, because I kind of stopped paying attention to that game after the fact. Let me just check. I think it stopped at
5 touchdowns.
All right, good. It stopped at 5. But 360 yards, 5 touchdowns, 39 fantasy points. For everyone who said that Patrick Mahomes was going to be not a top 3 quarterback in fantasy football this year, can pop shove it.
Yep.
So...
and Travis Kelce, bro, still.
What a waste.
I mean, we'll get to him. But...
I just realized that Chad Henne kind of looks like Matt Castle. You remember that guy from back in the day?
Yeah.
Kind of looks like Matt Castle.
He does. Still weird that he's in the NFL, but whatever. But do we even have to talk about Mahomes? I mean,
no. I would just start him. Is there any concerns about the Kansas City Chiefs? Is there any concern about the Chargers this week that you have? They're a little bit better of a secondary. So
yeah, no, I don't think Mahomes is getting 35 or whatever he got
39,
you. Yeah. Depending on your scoring format.
Yeah.
35 at the worst in a 4-point touchdown league. He's not doing that again. I don't think he's thrown 5 touchdowns against the Chargers. The Chargers have a decent defense this year. At least talent-wise, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa is nasty up front. They put pressure on Carr all game. I think that might happen again.
JC
but
Jackson,
it's Patrick Mahomes. You're going to start him. He's still going to get you 20 minimum fantasy points, I think. So you definitely start both these quarterbacks.
Yeah, definitely. I'm in on Patrick Mahomes. Not really. When you have these quarterbacks on Thursday Night Football where you're talking about, obviously they're starters, it's more or less we're trying to gauge whether or not they're going to have a good performance or not. Obviously, the expectation for Mahomes is that he's going to be fine.
I don't think he's going to have like a top 3 week, though.
No,
so I'll just say that.
No, I don't either. But if you have him, start him.
Yes, obviously.
At the running back position, a lot of interesting stuff happening this week. Clyde came on strong earlier in the game. Chiefs started to blow out the Chiefs started to blow out the who the heck did they play? I already forgot.
The Cardinals. Sorry,
the Cardinals.
So now you're doing it to me.
Creepers. My head is just spinning from Sunday. But yeah, so they had, it was interesting. I don't know if we can really figure out a lot from what the Chiefs were running other than what they did in the first couple drives of the game, or maybe the first half when they were blowing out the Arizona Cardinals. Because when it got to the second half, they went on to guys like Jerick McKinnon and Isaiah Pacheco. Like they took Clyde off the field. He wasn't on the field for, I would say, the majority of the fourth quarter, or if not all the fourth quarter, because they were up by so much. Probably just trying to keep him healthy and ready to go. But when you look at the snap percentages and you look at all that stuff on Sleeper and the advanced analytics, they would suggest that Clyde is in a 3-back workhorse, non-workhorse role. So is the analytics and the snap percentages true, or were the Chiefs just getting, are just blowing out the Arizona Cardinals to a point where they were just like, we're just going to take Clyde off the field?
I think it's partly true in the sense of they want to use all 3 guys, which is disgusting. I know, but I do think it's partly not true in the sense that Clyde is still the main guy. Clyde was the one that started the game. Mm-hmm. He got, I think, pretty much all his work was in the first half. And then they wanted to see what Pacheco could do, and he played well. So they're probably going to keep using him in some way or shape or form. And McKinnon will be involved, but Clyde will still be the main guy. I think Clyde's going to get a higher snap percentage in closer games. in blowouts, obviously, maybe not. It looks like they're gonna just rest him up because I think Mahomes too. Like they didn't really throw the ball a ton or as much later in the game, and I think they took him out at the end of the game for the last drive. So Clyde, I don't think played really much at all in the fourth quarter. So
Yeah.
I think he'll be okay. I would still start him, but that does make me a little nervous.
Yeah, it's almost
Not
like
gonna
one of
lie.
those like amateur fantasy football people. Most people in your home leagues are going to look at Clyde's performance and say, "Ooh, you're 22 points," and they're going to go off the fantasy points. But you have to peel back the onion a little bit, layer by layer, and figure out where these fantasy points came from, what happened in the game script, how did things actually play out, how many snaps did he had, what was his route participation, like what was he doing on the field when he was there, and based on all those numbers, like I would definitely be nervous. I'm not like scared of Clyde Edwards-Helaire in terms of like, oh, he's just gonna bust out and suck, but I think that there is concern there that you have to keep an eye on, that if it's a close game, are they still using those three backs? Or are they just using Clyde and Jerick McKinnon or Clyde and Isaiah Pacheco? Like, which guy are they going with in certain situations in the game? And if it's just Clyde, then that's great. You know who's going to get the ball. But I feel like, that's why I'm going to go back and watch this game and see who got the early production in the game and what it looked like when it was at least close and the Chiefs were still trying to, blow the doors off the Cardinals. Just to see what the snap percentages were. But for this Thursday, I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think it's a decent matchup against the Chargers. So I think it should be interesting to see how he's utilized and what happens. I don't expect a 22-point performance. Probably somewhere in the vicinity of like 10 to 15. Is what my expectation would be, but I would start him this week.
Yeah, and I'm not starting anyone else.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything with those guys. The receiving core, very interesting. As Mahomes promised, they passed it around all over the field.
Yeah.
Juju got targets. Hardman got targets. Freaking MVS got targets. Sky got a couple of targets. He looks good when he gets more.
I'm pretty sure he only got one.
Yeah. Sky got
but
target.
It was a 30-yard catch.
I know he looks good. He looked good when he was playing, when he was getting opportunity.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little while for him to get involved. But
yeah, it makes sense that he would be the fourth guy to start the year. But
I would say, in my mind, and I have to check, I don't know why I didn't do this, but I want to check Scantling's numbers really quick. I would imagine that they're not good considering no one's talking about him.
No, he didn't. I mean, he was efficient. Didn't really have a ton of targets.
Yeah, I would say, he had 4 targets, 4 catches. Juju and Hardman, at least in the early part of the season here, are there too. Obviously, Kelsey, who is a start, is at the top of that, but we'll get to the tight ends in a second.
Yeah.
But Juju and Hardman are the clear 1 and 2 wide receivers on this team. They do run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, so Scantling is on the field a lot with those 2 guys. But and what I noticed in the game when I was watching it, it wasn't efficient and it didn't really work too well with Hardman. And the hope is that maybe it does. But they were using Hardman like they used Tyreek Hill. They were trying to utilize that speed in the same ways. It just didn't work because obviously Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill and Hardman is Hardman. So,
yeah.
But Juju was in the slot. He had a game that was Juju-esque where he averaged under 10 yards per catch.
Did he?
Yeah, something like that. I think
6 catches, 79. Oh, well, yards per target was under 10.
Yeah. Our yards per target is what I meant to say. So he was definitely a guy that he did what Juju does. He played the slot. Yep. So, but I think
honestly, go ahead.
I was going to say early in the season, you're going to see Juju and Hardman probably get a majority of the targets here. And a lot of targets are going to end up going to, the tight end position and the running back position as they try to figure out. I think their plan here early in the season is let's get the ball to Juju because we know he's good. Scantling, Hardman, and Moore fight for that new role.
Yeah. I actually think Juju was pretty good in this game. I know the numbers aren't gonna, the fantasy points aren't really gonna say 11.9
Great
in
trade
PPR,
target,
which
by the way.
isn't great. Yeah. But he had 8 targets in 3/4 of the game. I don't think he played in the fourth quarter. So that was really good to see. And he also had a fumble that he lost. I think it says he had 2 fumbles. I didn't see the other one, but he lost a fumble. So that's 2 points away from what he would have had. And then you throw in a touchdown, that's a 20-point week. So I thought he actually had a good game. He was very involved in the offense. It seems like, even though, yes, Mahomes is going to throw it to different receivers and they're going to use different guys, it feels like Juju among the wide receiver group is the top guy, which is what we knew already, but we just wanted to see it confirmed, I guess, on the field. At least I did. So that was good to see, and it actually gives me more confidence in Juju going forward on a week-to-week basis. I would start him this week. I don't know how you feel against the Chargers.
Yeah,
pretty confidently in my flex.
Yeah, I would start Juju.
Any other Chiefs receivers though, I'm kind of out on. Now.
Yeah, I would definitely roster Hardman and Sky Moore and Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
I don't know if I would roster FBS, to be honest.
Yeah. You know what? I threw him in there because there's some people who are very in on MVS.
The MVS people, yeah.
He's trash, dude. I watched him in this game. I'm like, he is not a good wide receiver, and
I think
it drives me nuts that people hyped him up. And we're like, oh, he's on the Chiefs now. He's going to be good. Like he wasn't with Aaron Rodgers, the MVP, and the Green Bay Packers last year. Like, come on. Right. MVS as an NFL wide receiver is a good receiver. Like
Sky isn't a bad stash. He's someone you should keep your eye on, but I wouldn't, he's not anyone you're starting anytime soon. Yeah. And then MVS, you're right. And then Hardman, I mean, as of right now, he's the number 2, so he's worth rostering, but I'm not starting Michael Hardman.
Yeah. Until I see like 3 catches for 17 yards is just absolutely abysmal. It's like, Hardman, come on, buddy.
Yeah,
this is your shot. This is your opportunity before Sky Moore rips it away.
He had 2 yards per target.
Oh my god.
So I mean,
it's brutal.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, tight end position really quick. Travis Kelce, obvious.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we might have to talk about Kelce, dude. He's 32 years old and he's still an absolute machine.
Yeah,
by far the tight end 1 through week 1 by like 10 fantasy points. Nobody even came close. No Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, Darren Waller, none of those guys.
Well, the good thing is that if you don't have Travis Kelce, everyone else is the same. That's why I'm like, does it really give you a positional advantage when everyone else is just the same?
Well, Kelce does, but apparently nobody else does.
Yeah, I know. I like I said, Kelce. This is a much more difficult matchup, obviously than Arizona was.
I don't think he's not getting 26.
He's probably not getting 26, but it's Travis Kelce. I expect like 15. PPR format.
Yeah. I think that's fair. 15 to 16, something like that.
So I definitely like Kelce, but it's absurd that he continues to produce the way. At some point, it's going to catch up to him. And I think this season in particular is an interesting test because it clearly not having, Tyreek Hill in the offense. I always thought that not having Tyreek Hill didn't affect Travis Kelce, but not having Travis Kelce affected Tyreek Hill. In a lot of ways, when he was on the Chiefs, not with the freaking Miami Dolphins. But so that usually had an effect. So I didn't really think production-wise, if Kelce was on the field, target share-wise, he was going to change all that much. But the question is, can he do what he's doing for a full season? And if he's going to get targeted 10, 11, 12, 13 times a game, is that sustainable for a 32-year-old tight end?
I don't think so, but here we are.
Yeah,
he is the number 1 target on the team. Look,
is throwing 675 times sustainable for a 45-year-old quarterback?
Right. Apparently it is.
I guess he's on TB12.
Yeah.
Nah, he's on smashing beers over his head in the offseason. That's what he's on.
That's one way of going about it, I guess.
It was so funny. He literally caught a 20-yard pass for a first down, and he did like this weird like finger pointing dance. Did you see that?
I didn't.
Yeah, it was just like tool bag-esque. Reasons why I hate Kelsey, that's at the top. And I'm like, you've caught like a million first downs in your life. Do you really got to celebrate like a tool bag every time you get one? Like, just point like everyone else in the NFL and move on. Chiefs fans love it, though.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want when you score a touchdown. When you get a first down, like, do we really got to like, it's like, I saw this freaking video the other day. I don't know if you have watched any like college football games recently, Rick.
Not honestly this year I haven't really.
The quarterback could throw a ball literally 40 yards away from a cornerback, right?
I saw memes about this.
Yes, and the cornerback will freaking lose his mind and celebrate like, yeah, I stopped him. And it's like, you threw it 40 yards away from the wide receiver. What are you talking about, dude? It's same stuff happens in the NFL. It's not just a college football thing.
So funny.
It is ridiculous. But that's Travis Kelce every time he catches a first down. Like, all right, guy. Let's relax. But he should be a good play. I think both Kansas City and the Chargers are going to be really good plays for the week.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, unfortunately, we said this last week, and we were right about most of it. But Allen Robinson,
we should,
in nice effort. So it wasn't as high scoring as we hoped. So this week, I am a little nervous about that. But
the question,
everything on paper says it should be a high scoring game.
Quickly, the real question is: last week, everyone was talking about. Obviously, Allen Robinson played like 97% of the snaps. He had 2 catches or 1 catch, 2 targets. And Cam Akers barely played, and Matt Stafford had a bad night.
Stafford and Ford.
And the only guy that didn't have a bad game is Cooper Kupp. So if you were betting on any Rams players outside of Cooper Kupp, you had a bad week. That all is tied to the fact that the Rams had a bad week offensively. So because of that, obviously all of the assets around Cam Akers is pull Cam Akers out and throw him in a box because that guy doesn't count anymore. I don't know what to do with him, but all the other assets that they had that people thought were going to be fantasy assets, didn't produce because they just didn't produce offensively. So, does that happen for the Chiefs or the Chargers this week? That's the question. If the Chiefs come out and all of a sudden their 5 wide receiver set, or the 5 different guys that they targeted this week, 6, 7, 8 target guys that they targeted this week, all of a sudden they all suck and the Chiefs desperately need Tyreek Hill back. Maybe that happens. They score 10 points, and all of a sudden Chargers score 40, and all of the assets we just talked about on the freaking Chiefs are garbage. It could happen, but I doubt it. I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Quick look into next week, Rick. So the good games stop rolling. We got the Steelers and Browns next week.
Oh yeah, can't wait for that crapshoot.
Nice. Any more thoughts on this game, though?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay, all right. Good stuff moving into week 2. We have starts and sits tomorrow, buy and sell on Thursday. A lot of good stuff to get to as the week rolls on. Enjoy your Thursday night football tomorrow night, and we'll talk to you later, guys. See you.
Later, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.